Good morning, I'm forecaster Jimmy O'Neill, and here's your latest weather forecast from the KMET Weather Center. For the Beaumont in the Banning area for the daytime hours, sunshine. There is an abundance for the afternoon, highs in the lower 80s. For the daytime hours in the IE area, sunshine, mid 80s is your high, and for the afternoon in the Coachella Valley, sunshine, highs upper 80s. I'm forecaster Jimmy O'Neill for Smart Talk 1490 KMET.
That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio KMET 1490 AM. I'm Aaron Michael Sanchez. Good to have you with us. We got Jesse Sanchez over there, making sure it is all good in the room of what I call the beginning of something we're going to need, especially if certain stations go off the air. Radio is always a dependable thing, right, Jesse?
That is right. The internet may go down, but I'll be here.
Yeah,
that's how it usually goes.
Yeah, you know, and I've said this before. I said, look, if you're ever going to invest in anything, invest in one of those solar-powered or crank-up radio things, right? Because in the event of a disaster or in the event of a problem, radio is always going to be on, no matter what. How many movies have you seen, Jesse, where they're communicating through radio airwaves, right?
Oh, yeah, radio or what? Those other ham radios.
Yeah, those two.
Yeah, any low-tech stuff, but yeah.
But if you think like Terminator, when they're like traveling, they're like reaching out to people, and they're like, "Is anybody on this?" And they turn on the radio in the vehicle, right? And they're like, you know, there's a repeat signal sometimes, or there is, you know, if there's anybody out there, please, you know. I mean, we're not there. I'm not going to that level with people, but I'm just saying, if there's a disaster, whether it be, you know, in your neck of the woods or around, AM radio will always be here. FM is good. It's very high fidelity, but technically AM reaches further, faster, longer, and is constantly on. So that is one thing that we promise you here at KMET 1490 AM, that we will always be on the air. Even if we have had this, Jesse, we've had power, down in cases, but we're back up as soon as possible. And the great thing about radio, even though I know a lot of people sometimes are starting to listen to their apps and their devices, if internet goes off all of a sudden, then, well, there you go, right? Speaking of internet, Jesse, I will say this, and I thought this was interesting. I think Elon Musk did this, and I remember when Facebook did this as well. And they flew certain little satellites over the area. And I think one did actually a plane that had internet that gave access to the people of a country. I forgot which one Facebook did that with, and that was a while back. But Elon Musk recently did that for the people of Ukraine. That way they could stay online, right? Because we really do want to see the footage of people. But if the power goes out there, what are you going to do next, right?
Right. I mean, the number one thing for a war would be the opposer would try to disable your electronics so no information can get out.
Yeah.
So I'm actually kind of glad that Elon did this. This way, information can constantly be flowing in and out of that country.
Yeah, and it's the right thing to do. And, when it comes to war, usually, which Russia is doing now, they're putting a clamp on Russians from reaching internet abilities because, and everybody knows pretty much propaganda. They know the word, right? But what you sometimes don't understand is certain countries are 100% state-controlled when it comes to media. And it says it. There's like this thing that it says state-controlled media. China has it as well. And if you look at it on Facebook and on Twitter, you'll see the channels. It's obviously Russian-backed if it's like RT, which is kind of a thing. And I used to like to watch RT, not going to lie, because when in times of war, you could kind of get general ideas, kind of like BBC for Britain. You know what I mean? Then there's Britain America. RT had RT kind of for America as well. Back in the day, Hillary Clinton talked about it, said, how come we don't have our own? And I say that's the good news about having like ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, local news outlets like, KTLA. I got friends over there. Because that's more independent than not. It might be bought in a way or skewed when it comes to financials, because a lot of them do take politic money. And obviously you will have one kind of watching over the other. I discussed this a few years back, actually a couple years back, about how certain ones are very one-sided, right? But we do not have, as far as I know, 100% state-controlled media or country-controlled media, right? Meaning it's all controlled by the media, whereas Russia does, China does, and some would say communist-like countries, right? So the good news is we don't operate that way. The bad news is there are places like Australia which are going that way, where if you speak out about the government, and something you mentioned yesterday, Jesse, where we strike here, we do things here, but in certain places, you go to prison for that. And that's where Russia's going right now. That's where Australia's already going for the last 3 months. And that's where China already has been. If you speak out against, you're done for, right?
Exactly. I'm just all like, you people are lucky you're able to protest without having to worry about being, well, obviously if you throw rocks and stuff, you're no longer a protester, you're a rioter.
Yeah.
But you're lucky you can even say anything about your president wrong,
Yeah.
or whatever, because you know what? If you say it in those countries, you can't even call the president in China Winnie the Pooh. You'll be thrown in jail.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that.
So,
which was a thing.
right? And I thought it was a joke, but nope, it's real.
It's real. It's 100% real. And in some areas, even based on what you watch in your own privacy, they'll lock you up for that, So there's that. Now, having said that, the reality is we all are going to a moment in time, and it's going to be probably a several-month war. And I said this earlier to Jesse off the air, and I'm going to say this just really quick, and it's sad to say this. These type of wars, and some are comparing this war to World War I. I saw some other sites as well that said that as of yesterday. And they said, look, and you said something about World War I as well. Something that's happening is kind of like a repeat, right?
Yeah, no, I'm saying this is almost kind of like slowly mirroring World War I, because I remember someone was saying how before America joined the war, there was the Foreign Legion where you can, join and, fight. Obviously, Ukraine is doing that now. There are tons of soldiers that are flying over there as we speak that are helping defend Ukraine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and then just as I give them props for standing up for something that they believe that, people need help. These are civilians, not freaking soldiers.
Yeah, and that's the worst part of it. And I think I saw a news article which said that now they're being charged with war crimes, which usually doesn't happen until after the war is starting to brew down. Does that make sense? It usually is information kind of seen later, because World War I and World War II, the only way you could get information out from your area is honestly film. Okay, that was back in the day where you had journalists and other people which have footage that we see now, but they were, in the territory of behind the lines, right? You didn't have satellite at the time communicating with ABC, like we do now. We're on Skype or we're on digital. You didn't have that before, right? So World War I and World War II, a lot of people were just getting information in the newspaper, right? And they honestly, it was word of mouth and word of things. But in the age of today, it would be harder to prove that if it were just in a newspaper, because nobody reads a newspaper anymore, right? So it's evolved. So the good news is we can see things instantaneous. We can see proof via mobile phones. Thank goodness for smartphones that actually take video, photos, because it's hard to lock that up, right? Everybody has a phone. But having said that, I feel in the next few weeks, Russia will go next level, and they will kind of get in the middle of their telecommunications and or their power supplies. And then what do you do next, right? Because if a network goes down and nobody supports it, back to Elon Musk, I think he's doing good by doing this, give them a backbone or an area to be able to do that. But what if a rocket takes out that? All right. There's already been some satellites that have kind of crashed in the last few weeks. Some people haven't seen it. but it's happened over Mexico. Recently, I saw video footage of a couple weeks back in Puerto Rico, and they're saying certain like ones like falling from the sky. It looks like meteorites, to be honest. If you look at that footage, it's very, very, very like, whoa, what the heck? And then Jesse tapped into something I completely didn't even think about, and yet it is real, because what you're gonna find is there is so much anger right now, again, for the Ukrainians, but of people that are saying to other people of the country of Russia, we don't like you, go away, you're bad. Which I say, whoa. If you talk to most Russians in Russia, a lot of them disagree with this, all right? Which is why they're on social media wanting to say, look, he is an unelected president. We do not want him. We haven't wanted him for the last few years. That if you look at the media, they're funneling like certain Chinese youth are funneling in state-controlled China, how to get that information out via social media. But there are certain channels going to be clamped down on, like Facebook, Twitter, and I know Facebook and Twitter are already kind of doing that with Russia. Well, what do you think is going to happen on the other opposite side? Now, Trump tried this. If everybody remembers, Trump tried to kind of put a squash to social media because social media was kind of putting a squash on him on certain rhetoric that he was putting out there. So he was like, fine, I'll put a squash on you. When others were like, whoa, that's a little like too much, right? I want independent viewing, right? I want independent pictures. I want independent video. I want independent minds to keep the world safe going forward. That's what I want. And it needs to happen. That's what journalism is at the end of the day. It may not be what it was because they haven't figured out how to, merge old media with new media, which isn't hard. I talked to some newspapers about this, but nobody wants to listen. So you can still make a massive amount of income. That's why teens and 20-year-olds are making a lot of money online, but you're doing it wrong. Get on YouTube. Get your LA Times on YouTube. Get your La Opinión on YouTube. Start monetizing on that stuff, right? It's not that hard. You have a good base to do it with. There are other networks that have done that. But my point is this. Jesse tapped into something which I said, oh, come on. Because there's so much skewed all over. And then you got all of these people saying this. So if you don't know about the International Space Station, what do you know about the International Space Station, Jesse?
I know absolutely nothing. I know that it's up there, and I know it's like a joint country effort.
Yeah.
So I know like certain countries take control of it over a certain number of months, and I'm just thinking, I wonder who's in control of it now. And, yeah. Well,
and I'm glad Elon is doing what he's doing. I'm glad he has the money and the wherewithal to actually say this and kind of be ahead of it. I am. Some of his statements in the last couple of years, I'm not going to lie, made him look kind of like, what is this guy talking about? When he was, smoking weed. As what happens with most people that smoke weed, they're all over the place. But he's kind of pulled his act together, and I'm glad he has. And here's the situation with the space station. And I thought this was a joke, I'm not going to lie, but it's actually not. Roscosmos Director General Dmitry Rogozin threatened to drop the ISS onto the U.S. or Europe last week in response to sanctions over the Ukraine invasion. And this is a new article. Jesse and I were joking. And Jesse, as I always say, he gets some things right. And I'm like, where did you get that from? He's just got this special mind, right? Tapping into his ability just to know things. But according to this, Russian engines control the station's propulsion and keep it afloat. Well, right on Twitter, he boasted to the West that the ISS does not fly over Russia. Therefore, all the risks are yours. Whoa.
What?
You did not just say that.
I can't put that thing.
You did not just say that. Space experts say his claim is incorrect, pointing out that the space station routinely skirts past southern regions of Russia. Tracker data shows that the ISS flies over land that borders with Ukraine, Kazakhstan, Mongolia, China, and North Korea. Some suspect Rogozin actually meant the ISS doesn't fly over parts of Russia of significance to President Putin, particularly the Kremlin, which is well out of its flight path. It doesn't fly over the parts of Russia that the oligarchs care about, the observer said. But here's the thing. Now, and that's in one article, right? In this article, Elon said SpaceX would save the International Space Station from an uncontrolled deorbit after the head of Russia's space agency warned it could crash into the U.S. or Europe. Because they could do that. there. Go ahead, Jesse.
So the guy's pretty much committing suicide if he drops that thing there.
Well, he's not committing suicide. He's just using it as like a missile at us, right?
So he does know we can blow him up if he's just sitting there in the ISS, right?
Well, again, it's not the fact that it's the people in the ISS. I think he kind of forgot there are people there sometimes, right? But if there's nobody in there, it's like a suicide mission, right? Which you go, well, what else is on the ISS space station, right? So that's the situation happening. And the space chief did say, if you block cooperation with the U.S., who will save the ISS from an uncontrolled deorbit and fall into the United States and Europe? He used that as a question. So that was what he was talking about. And Musk was like, yeah, actually that can't happen. And any government official knows that can and hopefully never happens. But if it does, you basically take it out with a missile. Goodbye ISS, right? Which is sad because it is something there for good, not for bad. But I mean, look at planes. Whoever thought a plane would be used as a missile into New York, right? It's almost like we forgot about that. It says there's also the option of dropping. Yeah, this is what this is what the guy said. There's also the option of dropping a 500-ton structure to India and China. Do you want to threaten them with such a prospect? The ISS does not fly for Russia, so all the rest are yours. Are you ready for them? That was his full tweet. Very, very, very telling, right? The SpaceX boss responded by tweeting, SpaceX would save the ISS from falling to Earth. It's been in orbit for more than 21 years, occupied by a multinational crew from 15 different countries. All right, these Russians are kind of get a little weird right now. The current occupants include 4 NASA astronauts, 2 Russian cosmonauts, and Matthias Maurer from the European Space Agency. Following Russia's military action against Ukraine last week, NASA said it would make every effort to continue as before, despite disagreements between the countries. So evidently they're dealing with this behind the scenes. Oh, goodness. All you need is a hacker to get into the ISS and go, yep, I know how to get in there. I'm going to send it to the U.S. Brother. The ISS is due to be decommissioned in 2030. Yeah. With current plans involving a controlled deorbit over the Pacific Ocean. Oh, okay. So that is something that might happen soon. You know what? This, and then, you know what people remember, and this is happening, and Jesse, you talked about this. Evidently, March, and they're counting down, and I kid you not, Jesse, this is a headline. I forget where it's at. Will you be able to see the one going into the moon, right? Now, remember, one doesn't deal with the other, okay? And everybody's wondering, whose missile is that that's plummeting towards our moon? So at first they thought it was SpaceX, and SpaceX said that isn't ours. And they said, well, it might be China. China's like, that isn't ours. I don't think anybody wants to take credit for this missile that's just orbiting in a path and is basically going to, completely, I don't really know what's going to do to the moon. But are you going to be there to see it? The answer is yes. Are you going to be able to see it from where it's at? I don't know. But there you go. One doesn't do with the other. Seriously, the weirdest things are happening on this Earth and in our orbit. Jesse, it's like a movie. Stop it!
I swear, if I find out aliens are controlling everything just to make like some type of drama series, Earth season 245, I'm gonna be mad.
Seriously, we're in season 3. I tell you, it's horrible. Anyway, all right, we're going to take a quick little break. We'll be right back with more. Stay tuned. We want your comments next. We'll go to social media comments and some shout outs. Stay tuned right there. Be right back.
For all you truck and RV enthusiasts, TruckWorks right here in Banning is your one-stop shop for the best diesel performance and overall truck and RV needs. Whether you're towing, racing, off-road, or just cruising around town, TruckWorks specializes in truck and RV service, maintenance, repair, and performance upgrades for every light and medium-duty truck manufacturer. Bring it down to Terry and the guys at TruckWorks. Call 951-922-4776 or visit their website at mydieseldown.com today.
Tried shipping a package lately? It's amazing how difficult and time-consuming it can be. Packing, envelopes, boxes, second-day ground, next-day air, it's all enough to give you a headache. Next time, do yourself a favor, go with the pros at the UPS store in Beaumont. They'll pack it right and let you know all your shipping options. You can also take care of everyday tasks like copies, faxing, notary services, and live scan fingerprinting. And while you're there, Pay your Edison, gas company, and Verizon bills. Open extended hours Monday through Saturday. The UPS store in Beaumont, located in the Oak Valley Plaza at 1440 Beaumont Avenue. Call 951-769-5956. That's 951-769-5956. Online at the upsstorelocal.com/5027 or Google 5027.
Together We Are Strong is a product brand which stands for unity, equality, and protecting voting rights. Shop now at togetherwearestrong.com for t-shirts, hats, and coffee mugs. All voting rights profits are donated to Rock the Vote, an organization on a mission to empowering young voters. Become an activist without saying a word. Togetherwearestrong.com. Make a difference in America and the world. Shop online at togetherwearestrong.com. Give the gift that helps drive change. Go visit togetherwearestrong.com.
Your health truly is the greatest gift. At U-Theory, quality of life is at the heart of every product we make. From farm to shelf, we travel the world to source the purest, most efficacious, and clinically studied ingredients to create science-backed supplements that support beauty, emotional, digestive, and physical well-being. All U-Theory products are manufactured at our Southern California facility, ensuring the highest quality standards every step of the way. As a family-owned company, we celebrate the power of human potential with the mission to inspire wellness in all. Try U-Theory Immune Plus Daily Wellness. 100% daily values of vitamin C, D3, and zinc. Go beyond the you of today and catch the you of tomorrow. U-Theory.
That's right. It's the morning show here on ABC News Radio KMET 1490 AM. I'm Aaron Michael Sanchez. We got Jesse Sanchez over there. And looking at the comments and social media, I'm going to go to the most recent one. Rosalie says, hey, Twilight Zone, notice everything went to doo-doo after the Popeye chicken rave, and everyone on Facebook was signing up that broom. What? Yeah, I will say, I don't know, man. All I know is the world kind of lost their stuff, right? And we're here to hopefully survive it all, right? That's what I told my mom as of a few days ago. I said, look, we just got to get over the next few months, all right? If you think of this as a month thing, then you'll be ahead of it, because something that I was saying earlier, which is very important for us to realize, is war is different in World War I than it is in World War II. Technology, all right? When you have laser-guided systems, you have pinpoint accuracy, and you have other things that can go super, super, super sonic, you have problems, okay? That's why a 3-year war will be done in 3 months, but the devastation will be about just the same, all right? And some people are looking at the devastation in certain areas of the Ukraine, and they're like, oh my God, it looks like fallout, right? That's what we don't need, all right? You have countries that have 100%, and this is sad, nuclear weapons, all right? That has been the talk as of yesterday. What do we do with a nuclear warhead that Russia has about 6,800 of them, all right, loaded? And even the more advanced ones are worse than Hiroshima's nuclear bomb. That was to save a war. Some would say that wasn't the right thing to do, but others would say, yeah, but it ended the war. In this scenario, it's the beginning of a war, because everybody has a nuke now, right? Then Japan didn't have a nuke to send back at us. Now everybody does, right? So the technology got kind of spread kind of far and wide, right, Jesse?
Oh, yeah. As long as everyone has a nuke, it's pretty much what I call MAD, mutually assured destruction. So it's pretty much everyone's going to go out.
Yeah, so that's what, Russia kind of said, look, anybody that doesn't allow us to kind of do what we need to do with Ukraine, we got nukes. Well, when you say that, everybody's going to be like, well, we got nukes too. But at the same time, you don't want nukes to be in the air and or fall anywhere, period, in a story, right? So we got to deal with that. So I will say, be very careful out there. Be aware of things. If you have to, kind of, think, how do I survive the next 3 months? All right, because that's where we're going, okay? And in the next 3 months, we'll see. We'll see exactly what I'm talking about, and it's sad. I wish we weren't here. Rosalie says, "Happy Tuesday, Taco Tuesday." I like that. Let's think about something good, right? Let's see. Stephanie Reed says, "Hello, happy editing this glorious, gloomy, chilled, sunny, busy, awesome day ahead for today." She's in an area where it's very chilly. Cynthia Salas tuning in. Thank you, Cynthia. Viviana tuning in. Mark Blevin says, "Good morning with a little cup of coffee." Awesome, Mark. You're doing awesome over there. Casey tuning in. We appreciate you. Renee says, "Hi, Cosmos." And then this comment, and I thought this was a good one. I'm going to share this. This would be like a Joel segment, all right? I'm going to share it really quick. He says, "Mine is NOAA2, rechargeable batteries, regular batteries, solar, and electric in my Go bag." Okay, so what's he talking about? Well, we talked about in the last segment radios, right? And so I did a quick little look because I've really wanted to get some of these, and they're actually really cool now because they're very advanced. All right, so I'm going to share this one really quick, and let me bring it up for you guys to see this. And it is right here. And again, we're on radio, right? So AM radio, 1490. That's if you're in the area. If you're international, like a lot of you guys are, or nationally, well, then you tune in via our social media apps. But if we ever go off social media, we're always on the air on the radio, right? And I'm sure there's ways to redistribute our channel in other ways, but we'll always be on some way, somehow. And there you go. But here is a radio, which is an emergency radio, Rainink 5000 weather radio, solar hand crank, which is good to have in the event that you need to kind of get it up. It's AM, FM, SW, NOAA weather alert, portable radio with cell phone charger. I like that because you could charge your phone, right? Headphone jack, flashlight, reading lamp, and SOS alarm. Now this one's like in a green. They have a black one as well. And it only is, with coupon, you save 10%. It's originally $49.99. It's $39.99. That's worth it to me. What do you think, Jesse?
Oh, definitely. I mean, and you never know. In case of an emergency, it's always good to have those solar crank radios. But yeah, it's crazy as it seems. It just seems more, just more truth that you just gotta have a bug out bag just to get ready in case of an emergency.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Here's this one. Ooh. And I like this one. It's FOS Power 2000 mAh NOAA emergency weather radio, portable power bank with solar charging, hand crank, and battery operated. It's very sufficient. It's very compact. It's got a little flashlight. Has an SOS alarm, AM, FM, and LED flashlight for outdoor emergency. That one only $29.99. All right. And then there is this one, and I feel this one is kind of like a nice. I like to kind of go big. This is how I probably would go big. Not gonna lie. It's an emergency radio, 4000 mAh weather radio with hand crank and solar charging. This one's a little bit more pricey. It's $54.99, but it has everything. It has the emergency radio. It's got FM, AM. It's got flashlight, solar power, hand crank, power bank. Let's say it has a 3-mode flashlight, motion sensor, reading light, and battery indicator. You can put one in your home. You can put one in your vehicle. You can put one, where you sleep at night. It's weatherproof. It's good for outdoors. It's good for if you go camping, right, Jesse?
Right. I'm just thinking, can I hook up a portable or can I hook up a coffee pot to it?
Yeah. Yeah, and I like this because, worst case scenario, like let's say you go to the drive-in, right? You cannot have to consume your own, vehicle's battery, right? So there's that. And some people are like, well, I like something that looks a little bit better when it comes to like the style. And I will say this, there is one that I think, Jesse, your friends might like. And this one is very, very kind of retro. And I like anything retro, right? So here it is. This one is an emergency radio. You like this one, I could tell, huh?
Oh, yeah. I love the retro look to it. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's an emergency radio I don't know how you say this. Peewee Sol hand crank solar portable weather radio with Bluetooth subwoofer speaker, NOAA, AM FM, LED display, USB play, LED flashlight, alarm clock, SOS alarm, and more. Right. So these are good things to have when you have problems like you do now. Now I will say, I don't know that the Ukraine actually have these things right now. But if they did, that would probably be the next best thing when you travel and you flee your country, right? So these are good things to get your hands on, and they're very affordable, right? And they make a good gift, too. You know, worst case scenario, if there's an earthquake or there's a natural disaster or there's, where power goes out, you have the solar for days. You just do it in the daylight, and you leave it out in the sun, and you're good to go. Plus, it can power up your phone device. I like that. That's what I'm actually probably going to 100% buy as of this day, because it just makes sense, right? You do not want your phone out of commission. Keep one in your vehicle, right? And then if you get stranded somewhere, which we've seen, right? 26-hour blizzards where you're stuck in your vehicle all throughout the day and night. You kind of need power for something, right, Jesse?
Oh, yeah. I don't even know what I would do if I was stuck in my car for 26 hours. I'd go crazy.
Yeah, I know. So there you go. Let's see. Stephanie says, I know I'm figuring out and creating a app with use with Wi-Fi anywhere without connecting, but with the app itself. Figuring the code out and will be available soon. I will say this. There are ways to tap into other people's Wi-Fi, but usually they have a password on it. There are some that do not put a password, or it's a very generic, like Linksys, right? You type that in, and then you're like, whoop, good to go, right? But yeah, look.
I think you have to have a password on your Wi-Fi, only because I remember 15 years back there was a person. This is when pirating was like rampant.
Mm-hmm.
Well, more prevalent than it is now. Somebody like the FBI ended up storming this dude's house, and they're all like, because they were tracking his Wi-Fi stuff, but it was actually his neighbor because he was using his Wi-Fi signal. So yeah, be careful because they'll come after you.
Yeah, look, Wi-Fi is kind of like one of those things where I remember when I didn't protect a couple and I just put FBI surveillance ban. That's my little. Some people use some really fun notes there, but because I always want the people to go like, uh-oh, is there somebody like tracking us? But yes, it's me. No, but seriously, look, here's the reality. Get something that lasts for days. You'll have it for years to come. Worst case scenario, it's a good charging device for yourself, and or give it to your kids and have them listen to AM radio. Because I think, honestly, Jesse, we need to bring back what are those movies on the radio? We should bring that back. I should talk to Mitch about that at certain hours of the night, because those are fun to listen to on the radio. You know what I mean?
Sort of like an audio story.
Well, it's like this. I've always said, people might disagree with me, but there's certain shows you don't need to watch to just enjoy, right? And if you think of Netflix, but you think of audio only, and you're driving for days and days and days and days and days, kind of like I did from here to Texas or Texas back, you kind of want to hear an audio story of something. Why can't we not just do that again for AM radio and our FM radio, which we are on both, 98.1 FM. But again, AM goes much further, much faster, and much better. But again, it's like the days of what do they have? I know there's one station. I'm not supposed to say it because they're our competition. But after 9 o'clock, I, as a little kid, used to like to listen to it and then visualize the story as I listened to it, right? And they were from the 50s and 60s, right? But we can do that with certain shows that are out. I think we got to bring them back. Bring AM. Everything is retro. Bring AM back in a really good way, right? But we've evolved. That's why I say be on video, be on YouTube, be on Facebook, be on Instagram, be on Snapchat, be on all these ones. I'm on all of them. I'm trying to get back on TikTok, but it's taking me a while. So if you're on TikTok, add me, Aaron M. Sanchez. All right, people, we're gonna take a quick little break. We'll see you right after these messages.
Hey, Take KMET 1490 AM with you everywhere you go by downloading our free smartphone apps found on the KMET website, KMET1490am.com. You can also go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store on your phone to download the free app. Now you can listen live or play any of your favorite programmers' podcasts using your smartphone. Go to KMET1490am.com and download your free phone app today.
The staff and families at Custom Care Solutions Caregivers take this time out to recognize and salute the Palm Desert men and women in uniform, standing tall for our political and economic freedoms around the world. Let's always remember them in our thoughts and prayers. Their efforts abroad and our support have kept America strong. That message was courtesy of your good friends at Custom Care Solutions Caregivers, 42201 Beacon Hill in Palm Desert. They're always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction.
Hi everyone, Dave Levine here. The Dave Levine Show is back on the air, 10 to 11 a.m. Wednesday mornings on KMET 1490. Join me for an hour of Law & Order stories and commentary. Law & Order is now the #1 issue for Californians. If you miss it live, you can hear or watch it 24/7 on either SoundCloud or live stream. See you there. Thank you. Can't you see?
Standard time is here. That means shorter days and cooler nights that make you want to stay inside. Don't get caught in the cold. Franklin Mechanical Systems can do a preventative maintenance check on your heating unit. Get it working right. For cleaning, repair, or a new installation, call them for a free estimate. Franklin Mechanical Systems, for all your residential and commercial heating and air conditioning needs. Call their Beaumont office at 951-845-1000. That's 951-845-1000, and stay warm today.
Are you a self-published author that maybe underestimated the challenges of marketing your own book? I'm Suzanne Lynn, and we help authors sell more books through video interviews and radio advertising. You see, a professional video interview is really an author's secret weapon for marketing because it makes an emotional connection with your reader that can be posted to social media, YouTube, your book's landing page and website, your Amazon author page, and even sent to media to request interviews. We guarantee that video interview will be viewed by a minimum of 3,000 people in your target audience. And let's face it, no one can sell your book better than you speaking about it yourself. Plus, we can run commercials on our nationwide network of radio stations that targets your specific reading audience. Find out more at GiveMyBookWings.com. That's GiveMyBookWings.com. Again, GiveMyBookWings.com.
Welcome back. Yes, it is the morning show here on ABC News Radio KMET 1490 AM, and we appreciate the comments on social media. Viviana says Vladimir Putin is frustrated and directing unusual bursts of anger at people in the inner circle. That's according evidently to NBC News. And NBC News is saying that they're watching him unravel in real time. And there you go. So interesting stuff there. And that's via, I guess, their Twitter account. Let's see. Stephanie Reed says, I know Kiss FM had a similar show in the evening with Java Joel with Dexter, the angry guy, on an occasion of this guy named Dexter calls and talks on whatever topic. Yeah, so there's ways to make radio audio look or sound awesome. People do podcasts all the time, but I say, bring entertainment back when it comes to AM radio. I used to love just visualizing things or sci-fi stuff, which they would do the little sound effects and stuff, which sometimes were cheesy, but sometimes it was just cool just to hear them, like the little, like, I don't know. It's just, it's cool to visualize some of these things. But Jesse, you got something over there. What's going on?
No, I'm just excited. I'm excited for the weekend that's coming because of a new movie that's being released, but I'm also sad because the Russian people won't be able to enjoy it. I feel bad because they're just like putting themselves in a small little corner. Are we going to call them North Korea?
Well, look, again, and I'm gonna say this really quick, okay? We have to be very, very, very aware. Russia is leaders bent on war and seizing territory. It doesn't mean, excuse me, it doesn't mean Russians all agree with this path that they're going. Does that make sense? And let me put some perspective. Russia is on the border of the Ukraine, yeah?
Yes.
Korea is on the border of other countries, yeah?
I guess I don't know. I'm not. I don't know where they are in location.
It's all right. Nobody knows the map, right? But the point is they have neighbors,
Mm-hmm.
all right? We have neighbors to the north and to the south. We've got Canada. We've got Mexico. If we went at Mexico, do you think the majority of people here would be upset?
Yes.
Yeah, because you have friends in Mexico. You've traveled
Yeah.
to Mexico. You know Mexico. And some have family in Mexico, right? It's called hello. That's normal. Well, Russia has family in the Ukraine. Period, end of story. People just don't understand that. Now, when Moscow was more prevalent, when the wall was there, the people helped to take it down. That's where Gorbachev actually kind of lost in a way, because when the Berlin Wall came down, it did what the people always wanted, which is not put a border between the people. Because when it was done, if you look at the history of that, there's some really good movies about it, by the way, that I learned some information. When that happened, it happened suddenly, and it happened quick, and it happened fast. You were either on one side of the wall or you were on the other side of the wall. And if you got out with your family. But if you didn't get out, you were stuck behind the wall, all right? Well, that wall's come down and long gone, right? But North Korea still has that wall away from South Korea, which is where some people wish it didn't exist, but it still exists. So back to something that you're saying. Russia is a very large country, all right? It's actually larger than the U.S. And I looked at a map, and Jesse looked at a map, and if you want to do some research, it's actually really telling. It's a comparison chart. And it's a comparison chart that I had to look at because I was kind of like, I don't get it, right? And my mom brought this to my attention because she watches a lot of other news, and I'm okay with that because then we talk about it later in the day. And it was that Ukraine is about the size of Texas in comparison. It's not exactly the size, obviously, right? But it's the size of Texas, right? But if you look at a map of Russia, you'll understand, although they have fewer than we do, there's a lot of land that Russia already has. Now, granted, it's very, very cold. It's very, very dismal. It's very blah, but it's a lot of land. Yeah? So the site is mylifeelsewhere.com. There's a couple other sites that do the same thing, by the way. Let me see if I can bring this up. Sometimes it makes our thing kind of slow. But I want to show you just to kind of give you perspective, okay? And here it is. I'll bring this up here. And you just compare one over the other, and it kind of has like a way for you to see it. And it says Russia is about 1.7 times bigger than the United States. Again, the territory of Russia, yeah? And for those listening, the United States is approximately 9 million square kilometers, while Russia is approximately 17 million square kilometers, making Russia 74% larger than the United States. Now, that is the land mass. All right? A lot of land. How many people? Well, here's the thing. The U.S. has, which this is sad to say this, Jesse, because as of last year, we had about 420 million, right? I don't know how this number went down. Oh, yeah, coronavirus. We now have 332 million here in the U.S. So Russia has 190 million less than that in all of Russia. You get it? They have a lot of land. Why aren't they using that to produce solar?
Well, I think it's probably like icy and cloudy, but I really don't know. But yeah, the way you're talking about the maps, I was shocked when you showed me that, because first off, they really need to change maps, because showing the U.S. bigger than some other countries, it's stupid.
Yeah, and you're talking about Africa, because you saw one of these and you compared it. It's good to do research, especially with the kids, to kind of give perspective. Africa is way larger on real maps when you look at square footage, right? Or square kilometers, I guess is how they do it. When you look at that, it's so much bigger than like several countries combined. You're like, what's going on with Africa, right? But the point is this. Russia is a large player in this game. which is why some countries are going to say, yeah, we'll give you support, we'll give you a certain amount of stuff, but we're not going to go to war yet. But here's what's going to happen. We're going to go to war anyway, because you cannot just in kind of speaking, oh, we're going to support and not get called out. People are getting called out right now. I saw a vessel wanting to get fueled up by another vessel, and some of you might have seen it on social media, and the ones were saying, are you Russian? Because if you're Russian, and the guy's like, can we just put politics aside? We need fuel. And the guy's, nope, I don't think so. And there you go, right? But if you're a ship in the ocean and you need fuel, there's the problem. Okay, so we cannot lose humanity over this. That's what I'm trying to say here. We cannot lose being human for one another. Otherwise, we become like the Russians who are invading the Ukraine. There are soldiers that do that. There are soldiers that do those things. But there are other soldiers probably, I don't really know, that I would imagine, go, are you guys like mental? Because if you take those guys that run over vehicles and or do some really, really heinous things and now war is gone, do you want those guys in your camp of your own town? How many people do we have, right, Jesse, which have gone and served in other countries and they come back crazy as all get out? Huh?
Yeah, way too many. It's just like, and then, yeah, then you got that awkward moment and be like, yeah, I had a war here.
Yeah.
But apparently there was some news reports about what the propaganda for them to attacking Ukraine is. Apparently for them, the Nazis are in control of the Ukraine.
It's bad, all right? I saw a speech by the UN member from Russia saying what was going on. Basically, that they were putting order where order was not in the Ukraine, and that Ukraine was kind of like fighting back against order. And they spun it in such a way that if you only paid attention to what they said, you'd be like, is this a he versus she moment? You know, like when you get in the middle of like a fight of a couple, and you're like, one person spews it one way, and you're like, all right, well, what's your case? And then the other one says it their way. You're like, well, what's the proof in the pudding? We weren't dumb about this leading up, but I feel some were not watching or paying attention to the media so they could get dumb in the middle. We knew the media ahead of time because, and I know a lot didn't, but my mom and I always research YouTube and we watch news channels, we watch other independent people. They're not even journalists. They put these things together. I guess they have time. And they put together stuff that other people are shooting and or saying. But we've been saying this for the last, honestly, I think month and a half, but it's kind of been the news for the last 3 months. And even Ukrainians, I saw a news article yesterday where I guess this journalist anchor was like, well, what do the people say about, us supporting them? And I'm like, it's not about us. And that's kind of what the news reporter was like, well, some are happy, yay. And then she kind of said, well, others are saying, why now? Like, where were you before? And don't just in good faith say it or have your protest. And I get it. Protests are meant to say, hey, government, take care of them, right? These are our families. There's a lot of Ukrainians here in the States, all right? But I'm going to remind you all, there's a lot of Russians here in the States, all right? And I'm going to remind you what happened last time when 9/11 happened with certain ones that looked of origin from, like, Taliban members, right? There became hate. There became bad things. There became a lot of, like, stuff against certain people, which actually are more honest and loving than not. They're like, I'm not even of that same faith. What are you doing, right? So then you have to dress different. You have to talk different. You have to say things different. And that's the sad thing. That's what I do not want to see here in the States. We already have enough violence. We do not need to go against every Russian friend. I have 3, maybe even more, Russian friends that I would never think ill of, ever, right? And they may be yay, but I can almost guarantee you the answer is no, all right? And I've had a few as hosts. I got one that just, she got married to another guy. And honestly, I don't think ill of her. So remember your humanity in times of war. Do not get kind of caught up with, oh, you're Russian, I'm this, right? Don't get that way, okay? The people of Ukraine are a nice, peaceful people. Yes, we need to come to their aid to go against the soldiers that are being commanded by the leaders and or the military men that are making it bad for all Russians going forward. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes, it does. I have yet to find one Russian to say, yeah, Putin's doing a good thing. I've yet to see one person say that Putin's doing a good thing. So, yeah, just because they're Russian doesn't mean that they go for Putin.
Yeah, and if you do meet a person like that, just say, are you aware of what's going on in the news, or are you being bought and paid for by Russia? Because there are going to be those, okay, in the next few months, because that's where propaganda begins, it starts, and then it ends. So remember what's happened up until then. They invaded a nice, peaceful nation, all right? There was already a mini war on the east with separatists from Russia, but you kind of go, well, why did you separate from Russia to begin with, right? And then they took it next level, and then Russia did their thing, and now they're banding together in the next probably 3 weeks, and that is not good for the people of Ukraine. But it's not just about the people of Ukraine. I'm going to say this right now. It's the people of Poland. It's the people westward of Ukraine. Ukraine is a good dividing line against the rest of Europe. So Europe has to pay attention. Otherwise, they're going to hate themselves in the next probably 6 months. Okay, if they don't pay attention and give them what they need now, Russia's going to invade them too. Where do they stop? Whenever there are conquests from country over little countries, it doesn't stop. They go, well, we got that. Let's get this. And war mongers or war people are ready to go next level. So the people of Poland, pay attention. Get it ready for war. And the next 3 to 4 months, you're going to see them advance so much, you're going to say, why were we not prepared for this? Okay, you have to be prepared for this. And if anything, taking the people from the Ukraine, say, we're going to give you asylum 100%, let people go westward, because that is where the armies are going. They're going from the east, they're going from the north, and they're coming probably from the southeast, okay? They're advancing them to take over the Ukraine. But if you're stuck there, Jesse, you're going to be, unfortunately, under Russian control. And in a bad way. Because it's like the sub-children of Russia. It's not run like Russia because it's the military men that kind of take over, and now they kind of set up camp, and then they do it their way. Does that make sense? It takes about a year to a year and a half for things to kind of be okay, and then you're not even talking about possible, like, camps where they kind of separate people, like, are you for us or are you against us? And then they'll shoot people in the head just for saying, no, I stand with the people of Ukraine. So you have to get out of there. That's where we're going, all right? Back to World War I. Concentration camps existed to put people in them. It wasn't always, as people think, just about the Jews. Camps have happened long before that happened. We just don't always speak about it. Even here in the States, we did it when Japan went to war. That is where Arizona is kind of known for, because a lot of people got shipped over to Arizona. Again, these are our friends and family members. So do not give up on your Russian friends. That's what I'm going to say right now. All right, and be aware, these things can turn on a moment's notice all of a sudden. That's where we're at. Be careful out there. We're out of time. I'm Aaron Michael Sanchez. You're watching The Morning Show. Jesse Sanchez over there. Stay tuned for more. Again, download our app. It is free. KMET, 1490 AM. Make it a great day. Remember, life is worth living. Live it well. For the rest of you, I'm out of time, but I just want to say this. Look, this is where we're going. This is where we're at. This is what we need to do next, okay? The U.S. has to take a very necessary position. They already committed the sanctions. Here's where that's going in the next few days. Because of the sanctions, Russia now is basically, what do we do? All right? Since they're in that mode, Putin will say to the people of Russia, see, this is what the U.S. does. The people will buy into it 100% because when you do not have cash, and if you didn't see this already, they are skewing to the money places because all the money financials have kind of been turned off. Banks, even Switzerland, are starting to participate to say, no, we're going to put a clamp down on Russia. Money to get your money, all right? That puts an undue pressure on the people of Russia. Now, that was something that the U.S. said 3 months ago, or I want to say a month and a half ago, all right? That was already going to come. It's not new. But it'll be spun in the way that it is new, and there you go. Russia will say 100%, oh, yeah, okay, this is what the U.S. does. This is why they're enemies. This is why we don't like them. And that is our, there you go, now you got it, right to war. The U.S. has to back up with force. The only way to circumvent Russia right now is come in from the north. Period, end of story. You come in from the north, you get Russia when they don't see it, and you say, you're going to do that, we're going to do this. Do you want to talk about it? That's the only way to get ahead of them. You do that, you'll be fine, because they'll back off. Then you say, let's have talks. Let's say this, let's say that, let's say this, let's say that, and let's go forward next. They're already having talks about peace and security and this and that and this and that, and to no avail. Russia's not going to back down because they have nobody to back them down. The only way to back them down is be the guy in the room that says, all right, I see you. Here's my gun. Do you want me to blow off your head? Once you say that, Russia says, all right, we'll pay attention. Okay? You have to treat that guy in that way. And it's sad, but I'm going to say this. You have to do it. You have to show force now before they get a stronghold. And they will get a stronghold of Ukraine in the next 3 months if the U.S. and Britain do not stop them. It's going to happen. And when it happens, they go westward. Oh, what does that remind you of? Yeah, World War I. That's where we're at, people. But the technology is worse. The technology is worse. The technology is worse. It is so worse than it was in World War I. It's bad. It's 100% bad. So we need to pay attention to where we're going next. Now, here in the home front, in the U.S., we can stay safe. Again, learn to watch media. Learn to watch where we are in the stream of time. Learn to watch all the things coming at us quick and fast. If we watch it, we'll be ahead of it. If we prepare for it, we'll be ahead of it. But we need to be ahead of it. We got to deal with coronavirus. Don't forget that's still here. We got to deal with financials. Don't forget that's still here. We got to deal with things here on the home front. And oh yeah, that's right. Food shortages are coming up very quick and fast. So canned foods, other foods, necessary foods, do those and be prepared for it. Now, as I always say to my mom, and I always say this, remember there's perspective. We here in the U.S. are very, very safe. More than not. But don't forget, Russia is just west of us. All right? People like to think of a map and they kind of put it way of the far of the east. It doesn't happen that way. It doesn't happen. All right? Even though you might fly that way, it doesn't happen. To the west of us. All right? And I saw a map earlier today and I thought, okay, well, at least you guys are doing the right thing. You're making sense of this. But I'm going to show you where we are on the map, okay? And this has always been kind of a thing. And I remember watching this. I said, okay, well, I get it. Because here it is, all right? Alaska has always kind of been a military place. People just don't understand it. That's why the U.S. wanted Alaska. It served as a barrier. It helps protect Canada, too. But if you'll notice, Russia is butted up right against Alaska. That's our one defense. But they're to the west of us. Look at the United States in comparison to all of that. Do you understand why I'm saying, people, we gotta be careful? All right, that's why. All right? Be aware we're in a nuclear age. Unlike World War I, we didn't have to worry about nuclear. We had to worry about bombs being dropped on cities, yeah, and then missing, maybe hitting you, right? Underground bunkers kind of were a thing, especially on the East Coast, right? But the point is, what are we going to do next when they hit a missile button and the missile button goes from way over there to way over here? Yeah, that's where we are on the stream of time. All right. Look, at the end of the day, I don't want you guys to stress out, but I want you to at least be mindful that these things can and very well may happen when we go next level. And it's coming up soon and fast, all right? So pay attention, be aware, be alert, and say, look, can you just bring peace? Just bring peace. Just bring peace. Because we need that. We really need that. All right? All right, people, make it a great day. Whatever you do, remember life is worth living. Live it well. Bye-bye, everyone.